monster that lives beneath this sacred lake. For centuries, our people have whispered of a horror that dwells beneath the still, dark waters of our sacred lake. They say that on moonless nights, when the wind carries ancient secrets, a terrible monster awakens, its roar echoing through the valley. Its presence, a chilling reminder of a forgotten curse. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I will take you into the depths of a mystery so terrifying and magical, you will not dare look away. My name is Chidi, and I grew up in the small village of Oko, nestled beside the legendary Lake Nzuri. This lake, with its shimmering surface and hidden depths, has always been more than just water to us. It is a living spirit, a sacred guardian of our ancestors. But there is one secret that even the elders hesitate to speak of. The monster that lives beneath this sacred lake. They say that many years ago, a powerful spirit war broke out between the gods and the demons. In that epic struggle, a demon was cast out and condemned to live underwater, deep within Lake Nzuri. Over time, its anger twisted into a curse, and the monster grew, fed by the fear and despair of those who dared come too close. It is said that if you listen closely on the darkest nights, you can hear its low, mournful groan rising from the depths, a sound that chills your blood and makes your heart race. I remember the night I first heard it. I was just a child, sitting by the lake with my grandmother. The moon was hidden behind heavy clouds, and a dense fog crept over the water. Suddenly, a deep, rumbling sound filled the air. My grandmother's eyes widened, and she whispered, "That is a monster. It is waking." From that moment on, my life was never the same. As I grew older, I became obsessed with the legends of Lake Nzuri. I spent countless nights at the water's edge, trying to understand the secrets it held. I spoke with elders and read ancient texts, piecing together a history of a creature born of darkness, an anger, a creature that could change shape, lure the unwary to their doom, and vanish beneath the surface without a trace. One summer, when the heat and stillness of the lake were at their peak, strange events began to unfold in Oko. Fishermen returned with nets torn to shreds, their eyes haunted by something they could not name. Livestock was found dead near the lake, as if attacked by a force that came from nowhere. And on several nights, villagers reported a strange, pulsing light emerging from the center of the lake, followed by a low, sorrowful cry that sent shivers down their spines. Desperate for answers, I decided to investigate further. One evening, armed with nothing but my curiosity and a small lantern, I ventured to the lake's edge as the sun dipped below the horizon. The air was thick and heavy, the silence punctuated only by the gentle lapping of water against the shore. I felt an uneasy pull, as if the lake itself was calling me, urging me to uncover its secrets. I walked along the narrow path that wound its way down to a small, rocky cove, a place the elders warned was cursed. As I reached the water, the surface of the lake began to ripple, though there was no breeze. My heart pounded as I strained my eyes to see what lay beneath the dark water. In that tense moment, I heard it again, a low, mournful groan, almost like a cry of pain and longing. It was as if the lake was alive with sorrow. I remember thinking, what curse lies beneath this water? The sound was both mesmerizing and terrifying, a call from another world. As I stared into the abyss, the water shimmered with an eerie, pulsating light. I felt an inexplicable pull, as if the lake was inviting me to discover something that should never be found. Over the next few nights, my visits to the lake grew bolder. I set up a small camp near the shore, determined to capture every detail of the mysterious phenomenon. Each night, the monster's presence seemed to grow stronger. I noticed that the water near the center of the lake would boil as if stirred by an unseen hand. Local lore told me that this was where the demon was strongest, where its anger was concentrated. One particularly stormy night, as rain battered the land and thunder shook the sky, I witnessed something that would forever haunt my dreams. I sat huddled by my small fire, the only light in the oppressive darkness, when I saw a shape emerge from the lake. It was massive, a creature with shifting, indeterminate form, its body a swirling mass of dark water and shadow. In a moment of frozen terror, the creature rose above the lake, its eyes glowing with an unearthly light. Its roar, when it came, was a sound that seemed to come from the very depths of the earth, a sound of pain, rage, and endless sorrow. I ran that night, not daring to look back, but the image of that monstrous shape, emerging from the sacred waters, stayed with me. I knew then that Lake Nzuri held a power far beyond my understanding, a power that could not be tamed, only respected. I began to hear more stories from the villagers, of people who disappeared after venturing to near the water, of families cursed with nightmares after hearing the monster's call, of ancient rituals performed in secret to appease the anger beneath the lake. Desperation and fear spread through Oko. Some elders proposed that the only way to save our village was to perform a sacred ceremony, a ritual that had been lost over generations. The ritual, they said, could only be performed during a rare celestial alignment, when the moon, the stars, and the lake's mysterious light would converge to weaken the monster's hold over the land. I was chosen to lead this desperate mission. With a heavy heart and a trembling voice, I gathered the courage to ask the elders to share the forgotten words of the ritual. They agreed, but their eyes were filled with a sorrow that went deeper than words. They explained that the ritual demanded a sacrifice, a token of purity, a sign of devotion to the ancestors who had once kept the monster at bay. The ritual required 3 sacred elements: a vial of water drawn from the deepest part of Lake Nzuri, a silver coin that had been blessed by the village priestess, and a strand of hair from a person who had never known fear. Each item was a symbol of the natural forces and ancestral spirits that had long protected our land. Only by uniting these elements under the rare celestial alignment could we hope to break the curse and banish the monster from our waters forever. I set out to gather these relics with a mix of dread and determination. The silver coin was easy enough to retrieve from the hidden shrine in the village square, guarded by prayers and ancient chants. The strand of hair was provided by my younger sister, Amina, whose unyielding spirit had always been our family's beacon of hope. But the vial of water, this was the true test. To retrieve it, I had to venture into the very heart of the lake, where the monster's power was most potent. Armed with nothing but a small boat and a heart full of fear, I rowed out into the dark waters. The lake was eerily calm, the surface reflecting nothing but my own terrified eyes. As I neared the center, the water began to churn. A deep rumble vibrated through the boat, and I felt the icy grip of unseen forces tug at its hull. I dropped the small vial over the side, holding my breath as it sank into the inky depths. For long moments, the water remained silent. Then, a single bubble emerged and burst at the surface, as if the lake itself was acknowledging my intrusion. I returned to shore, my hands trembling, the vial now in my possession, a symbol of our collective hope. With all 3 sacred items gathered, the time for the ritual had come. The elders chose a night when the sky was clear and the rare celestial alignment was visible. The village gathered in a wide circle on the shore of Lake Nzuri. In the center, a large stone altar had been prepared, adorned with ancient symbols and lit by hundreds of flickering candles. As midnight approached, the tension in the air grew almost unbearable. The silver coin, the vial of deep water, and the precious strand of hair were placed on the altar. With voices trembling yet determined, the elders began the incantations, a chant that had echoed through the generations, invoking the power of our ancestors and the natural forces that governed our world. The lake responded. Its surface began to shimmer with a strange, ethereal light, and the low, mournful cry of the monster rose from the depths. I could feel the presence of the creature, as if it was circling beneath us, its eyes fixed on the ritual. The chants grew louder, a chorus of hope and defiance against the darkness. The relics glowed, their light merging into a beam that reached out across the water. Then, From the center of the lake, a massive shape began to form a swirling mass of dark water and writhing shadows. It rose slowly, its form shifting in impossible ways, until it towered above the lake. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as the creature's eyes, burning with ancient fury and sorrow, met our own. The monster's roar was deafening, a sound that shook the very soul of our village. Yet we continued our chant, our voices united in a plea for mercy and deliverance. In that heart-stopping moment, as the celestial alignment reached its peak and the relics shone with a pure, blinding light, the monster paused. Its form wavered, as if caught in the powerful grip of our ancestors' will. The roar softened into a cry of pain, of regret, and of a deep longing to be free of its eternal torment. Then, as if exhaling a long-held breath, the creature began to sink back into the depths of Lake Nzuri. The light faded, the water stilled, and for a few agonizing seconds, there was nothing but silence. The villagers stood transfixed, their hearts pounding with a mix of relief and lingering terror. Had we truly banished the monster, or had we merely weakened its hold? In the days that followed, a quiet peace returned to Oko. The water of Lake Nzuri seemed calmer, its surface reflecting a gentle light rather than the ominous shimmer of before. Yet, deep down, we all knew that the curse had not been completely broken. The monster was still there, lurking beneath the sacred lake, a reminder that ancient forces are never truly vanquished, only held at bay by our unwavering hope and the strength of our ancestors. Even now, when the night is darkest and the wind carries the echoes of old tales, I sometimes hear a soft, sorrowful cry coming from the lake. It is a sound that fills me with both dread and wonder, a reminder that our world is woven with mysteries, and that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that call home to the very land we cherish. So, if you ever find yourself by a still, sacred lake on a moonless night, listen closely. You might just hear the lament of a tortured spirit, the echo of a monstrous curse, and the promise that even in the deepest darkness, there is a spark of light waiting to break through. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of fear and ancient magic. Remember, some mysteries are better left undisturbed, but the truth is out there, beneath the surface of our world. Stay brave, and may the light of our ancestors guide you through the night.